Welcome to Barbecue Catering Smarts, the go-to podcast for barbecue operators looking to grow and streamline their catering operations. Every episode, we're serving up expert advice, proven systems, and flavorful strategies straight from top leaders in the barbecue and catering world. So fire up the pit. It's time for another sizzling episode.
Hello again. I'm Michael Attias, your host of Barbecue Catering Smarts, and today's guest is Chris Bennett, VP of Catering at Maurice's Piggie Park. Love the name. Chris leads catering for one of the Southeast's most established barbecue brands, where full-service events, large-scale production, and a strong operational backbone all come together under one roof. At Maurice's, catering isn't an afterthought. It's a structured, revenue-driving division built on systems, logistics, and disciplined execution. From managing high-volume events to aligning sales, kitchen production, and on-site service teams, Chris brings a clear-eyed operator-focused perspective on what it really takes to run profitable, full-service barbecue catering at scale, and we're excited to have him on the show today. But before we get started, let's take a minute to recognize our sponsor, Caterzen Catering Software. They help barbecue restaurants turn their catering chaos into calm. Discover why barbecue restaurants trust Caterzen to save them time and increase catering sales. Go to caterzen.com and sign up for a walkthrough of the software. Now let's dive into this episode of Barbecue Catering Smarts. Welcome, Chris. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Michael.
No, thanks for being here. I'd love to start everybody off with an icebreaker question. I'll ask you for a number between 1 and 300, and we'll see what the magic machine comes up with.
Well, I've had a little bit of time to think about this. I was thinking about going with 6, 7. That seems to be what my kids
Oh,
are these
you want to
days.
go with 67? Pretty
No,
good.
not really. I like to go with 53. That's when we came to Columbia, our company.
1953?
1953.
Wow. What's your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Oh, well, I enjoy watching the rain. It can be calm and soothing and relaxing. That's always good. But also, for indoor activities, I like going to virtual golf and bowling.
Oh, fun. Are you a
Yes.
good bowler?
No.
Yeah, I think I need the bumpers, but I've got a friend of mine, and he used to own a bunch of cell phone stores, and his VP of ops was a professional backwards bowler.
Whoa.
He's actually scored a perfect game backwards, and he was on, I think, Johnny Carson or Leno or something.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
I'm doing good to bowl forward, grainy style. But it's fun. It's a
Yes.
fun sport. Very cool. Very cool. So tell us how you got involved in, first of all, where did the name Maurice's Piggie Park come from? I love the name.
So, Piggie Park is a family name that's gone way back to my great grandfather. He started the business, and then his sons branched out and created their own barbecue places here in South Carolina. And Maurice was my grandfather, and his two sons run the business now, my uncles, and it just passed down through the family.
Wow. So your dad didn't get involved in the business?
My mother was Maurice's daughter. So
Okay.
yes, she was in the business. She ran the restaurant, one of the restaurants, for quite some time, but she's taking a step back nowadays.
Nice. So your uncles, are they knee deep in it, or are they just signing checks and, shaking babies and kissing moms?
Well, I would like to say that's what they were doing, but these guys are work 7 days a week, up at 3 a.m, throwing the coals under the pits and chopping hams and greeting customers, and they're in it knee deep.
Wow. And you have cousins or other family in the business?
Yeah. I have my cousin Paul Jr., Cody, my sister Carolyn, my cousin John. We're all in the business, and we have some people that are working for us that we consider family too, that have been with us forever too. So,
That's awesome. Yeah, that's, there's nothing. I hate turnover. Like I hate losing people because first of all, it's so hard to find good people and to get them trained up. And if you find somebody good, you hold on to them and you take care of them. And,
yeah,
and it's the little things. It's not the big things, that make a difference.
sure.
So did you start off bussing tables, washing dishes, or, how'd you get started in the business?
Yeah, I grew up in it. So, I worked under my mom to start with, bringing wood in to fire the pits down at the downtown location. Doing that, and yeah, like I said, bussing tables, and worked for a lady in the diner, Miss Ivy. She was
Oh, wow.
quite the lady, but oh yeah.
Did
Uh,
you go to work anyplace else besides the family business? Like, did you go to school, like college, get a degree in something, go try your hand at something else, and then come back to the business with your background? Because I see a
yeah.
lot of that in family businesses.
Yeah, I went to the University of South Carolina, got a double major in marketing management. And my parents both graduated with education degrees. My dad went on to teach at the middle school and the high school. So I minored in education. I thought maybe that would be something I would want to do. And after doing some internships with that, I decided not to.
Yeah,
That was tough. It was tough.
it is
Uh,
tough.
but yeah, during college, yeah, I worked at a conference center. Did a little bit of catering with learned a little bit about that there. And UPS is their delivery company, and then I worked at I interned at the local TV station
Oh,
too. So it was a busy college year.
did you think you were going to be an anchor man?
I've always been fascinated by, movies and television and that world. That's always been really cool to me. But I don't know. That just wasn't for me, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, how many locations do y'all have?
We have 9 restaurants right now.
Because you started rattling off all your relatives, and I'm taking the payroll and I'm multiplying it. And I'm like, you either have one hell of a big restaurant that runs, the state of South Carolina through every week, or you got a bunch of restaurants.
We do. We do.
That's awesome. What percentage of your book of business is catering?
I would say maybe 20%, 25%.
And
Uh,
that's, I say 10% sort of the bare minimum. Like, if
yeah.
you're halfway trying, you should be able to get 10%. 20 is a good solid number. We got lucky. We did a third of our business in catering. That's full service and drop off.
Hmm.
And we hustled it. So what do you focus on? And, obviously we could go down the rabbit hole of working with family and, do you have to, well, let's ask this. Do you have to worry about your cousin or uncle second guessing you, or you sort of left with your own, like everybody has their own island, and unless they're really screwing up, they're left alone, or you have to play the politics game, to get what you want across the finish line?
Well, I would say it's mainly we have our own specialties. But and I've got to think about this lately, that it's good to have kind of a support system too. Because I have 3 kids, three awesome kids, and a wife, and if I have to, you know, uh, go out of town for something to do with one of their
Yeah,
activities, I have a good support system with the family. They can step right in and do whatever that needs to be done. So, and then vice versa too. So it
right.
takes a
Excuse me,
little bit of
coughing.
stress. Yeah, takes a little stress off.
I'm sure. Do you think it's nice to have that backup? I think probably your uncle's generation, your grandfather's generation, it's like my dad's generation, you work your tail off, right? They get up.
Hmm.
My dad used to go to work before we got up in the morning, came home, way past what anybody should normally do. Dinner, work half days on weekends, and did stuff around the house. And I think now, I don't think it's a badge of honor to say you work 80 hours a week. It's like you need to figure out how to work 40, 45 hours and enjoy your life, because so quickly, you get to the finish line. It's like, well, you can wait till you're 65 to take that trip and enjoy life. Like, enjoy the journey.
Yep.
It's just not worth it. And especially having kids. How old are your kids?
13, 7, and 3.
Dang. Okay, I'm going to ask you this. It's a little personal. First wife or second wife?
One and only.
Oh my God. I don't know who's crazier, her or you, having a 3 and a 7-year-old after the older one. That's
fun.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, but they all have their own, every age has its advantages. My kids are young adults, so I get to enjoy, or more like peers and friends, and, they live on their own, they pay their bills, they're not asking for anything. So when we get together, we got to go eat good food, go see cool things, do cool things, and there's no parenting anymore. So, and there's no, basically when they graduated, I said, okay, week you start your job, get your own cell phone, get your own car insurance, you're off the payroll.
Yep.
So that was nice. I went to your website and I saw y'all actually make your own coals from hardwoods, right? Like,
Yeah,
do you make,
we burn the wood down. Yeah, and then we shovel the coals under our smokers and pits.
so, I grew up in the age where we started, like Corky's, they started off on a charcoal pit, right? Way easier than burning down wood. And then they quickly realized they needed Southern Prides or Old Hickories to expand. So how have you been able to maintain, one, the quality and consistency and that commitment to really an old world craft? Because I've always said, you could train anybody how to make good barbecue on a Southern Pride. And, kudos to them for building good equipment. And maybe it's 90% of what you can do, but the average person isn't going to appreciate or realize that extra 10%. How have y'all been able to resist the easy button of, some of this fancier equipment?
Well, it's just the way that we've always done things. That's how my uncles grew up with it. We've had the pit equipment to do this, and that's just been our unique characteristic, our technique, to use the wood, no gas, no electric, to keep the quality consistent. We do all of our barbecuing out of our central West Columbia location. Um, and, my Uncle Paul oversees all that. So, and then we ship that out every day to our restaurants.
So
Uh,
it's like a commissary type. So you
yeah.
have consistency. You don't have to worry about, I got 9 pitmen and 9 buildings. Let's just have one place and we know it's consistent. That makes a lot of
hmm
sense.
hmm Yeah.
God, I bet it smells good and tastes so good coming off the pit. That was my favorite thing. I used to open up the restaurant in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning and taking the shoulders off. I'd just take a little bit with some tongs, put it on a bun, and eat it for breakfast. It was nothing better. God, I'm into pizza ovens now, so, um, but that's cool. So, what do you focus on in the business? What's your, what falls under your wheelhouse?
Sure. Well, my main thing is catering nowadays. So I've been able to grow the catering business where that's my main focus. Um, I also help with some of the marketing and operational aspects of the business. But yeah, primarily it's just my main focus is just catering these big events that we do. Some deliveries that really, I don't have to micromanage anymore. We got that yeah, got our systems in place for these things. But yeah, these big events, food truck things, and
Oh, y'all have a how many food trucks do y'all have?
so we have 2 food trucks, and they can be pretty fun.
So are you using them more for concession events? Are you doing them more for weddings? Are you going out to, hey, on Tuesday, we're going to be out at this industrial park, come get a sandwich? How are you using your food trucks?
So we've been able to kind of figure out what works for us and what doesn't. Uh, I like mainly using them on corporate events as on-site kitchen service type deal, where we're grilling or cooking whatever we need to feed the thousands. But
Yeah.
just going up and setting up shop on a corner it hasn't been worth it really to do that.
Have you done like fairs or festivals where, there's going to be 10,000 people going through in a day? Have you taken your food truck out for that?
We've done some of that, and some of them are good, and some of them, you don't have a guarantee, and there's 15 other food trucks there, and it's like,
And
why
if it
did I?
rains, you're
Yeah,
SOL.
yeah,
No, I get that. We've tried some barbecue. I'm not saying there's not guys in the concession business with barbecue. I think barbecue's a tougher sell than a funnel cake or an ear of corn or some of the stuff that you see in fairs that's
yeah,
more fair food
yeah,
friendly, if you will.
yeah.
So that's interesting.
Absolutely.
So, how long have you been in charge of the catering? Like,
I believe it was 2013 when I
okay,
transitioned to this role.
so 13. Where would you say catering sales were when you came on board? What were they doing? What percentage of sales would you guess? And where have you taken it to? And then we can go down that rabbit hole of what you've done.
Sure. They I would say next to 0% was catering. We did a few things here and there when my uncles had time, or friends would call and say, "Hey, can you do a wedding for us?" or something like that. Um, but yeah, yeah. Since I've been able uh, to make that my focus, we've grown it quite a bit. Not only from picking up at the restaurant, which I don't really even track those type catering orders, but um, I
So do
just
you
look.
think your catering sales could be even higher than 20% if you throw that in the mix?
Oh, yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, because that flows through the system and it goes straight to the the
Yeah,
cashiers and the kitchens, and I don't even have to worry about that.
nice. So you know, I have a marketing degree and I have a business degree, and we both know that I'm not going to say they're worthless, but there's nothing that beats real world getting a
Yeah.
few arrows in your back. Where did you well, first of all, what did you do to build a catering business? Let's start with that.
Okay. Um, well, getting the word out from the very beginning, just building the brand recognition that we cater, that we do. We'll deliver to you. We'll take your wedding. We'll do that. Getting the equipment in the wheelhouse and getting the menu straight, that appeal more to the catering client than just a restaurant menu.
So what do
And
you think the key is of a good catering menu? What are some basics?
well, it all depends on if they're looking for deliveries or full service. For full service things, people are looking for price per person. Um, you know, a couple set menus and maybe some customized menus. Delivery stuff, it's a lot of a la carte things. Pounds of barbecue and whatever pans of mac and cheese. But um,
Have y'all put together any per person drop off packages?
yeah, we do that a little bit. But yeah, it just all depends where we're going, what the customer wants, and that sort of thing.
So you're just you have clients all over, all different types, all over the board.
Yeah, yeah. I was up in Asheville, North Carolina this morning catering for an Amazon company up there this morning, and I think we had 10 deliveries for lunch today. So I'd like to say that's a normal day for us, but it's pretty busy. But yeah, we're able to churn it out. We're able to scale it up and scale it down, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's barbecue's definitely easy to scale up. It travels well. People like it. It's a good food.
Mhm.
So going back to the early days of you taking over the sales and marketing, talked about the menu and stuff. What did you do to get the word out? Did you start in-house? Did you have a house list? Did you buy ads? What are the things you did?
Yeah, a combination of all that, really. Getting involved with the Chamber of Commerce, getting the word out to the local businesses, building relationships really is a big thing. And I'm always telling these our cashiers and restaurant folks that everybody that walks in the door could be a potential wedding client, or a big one person in a big company could carry that a future catering order. Yeah. So,
You never know where that source of the next business. It could be an admin comes in for lunch and she says, "Hey, we're about to celebrate our 25th anniversary. And it's going to be a big shindig. You ought to go talk to Susie in HR about
mhm.
it." So, it sounds like you're a big relationship person. Is has worked for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that's worked really well for us.
So, are y'all super involved in the community?
I would like to think we are. We try to do what we can. We know that we're here for them. They're here for us. We're getting the votes in from our community here in Lexington, voting us best, and then down at the university, same thing. It's just we give back to the local food bank when we can. We have
Nice.
some charities that we do. We offer discounts to different organizations that we feel like that they could benefit from the best, and yeah, we try to help out.
You mentioned something giving back and organizations, and um, I'm not a religious man, but I'm definitely very spiritual. And regardless of your religion, I definitely believe giving back is like it's one of those universal laws, right? Doesn't
Mm,
matter where you where what your house of worship is, or even if you don't even walk in a house of worship, if you're spiritual, like I've always I heard this is in college about tithing. Didn't quite get the concept till I got older. Is that you can't outgive the reward. Now you can't. I don't believe that you could do it expecting a reward or return. But if you give with a giving heart and a giving hand, it just there's something in the universe, that it does come back. And I'm often amazed how many people they're very stingy. And it doesn't matter if you give $1, you give what you can, but 1 + 1 = 3. So, good for y'all giving back. And I'm sure I'm guessing you've seen that, you know, doing that.
yeah, I'm a big believer that a little bit of love goes a long way. So trying to always be positive, and you never know when somebody could pick up on some negativity or negative energy or something. It pays to be positive. Um, and we have a guy here in South Carolina. I'm sure you've heard of him. Rodney Scott. Um, his saying is, "Every day's a good day." And every time I see him in that T-shirt, I'm like, man, that's a good. That's that's exactly how you should think.
Yeah. I call it, I've always believed God, the universe, has put me where I need to be. Like, even if it's something bad, there's a reason. When you look, you might not realize it. Like, I remember I got fired from my first job, because what a friend sort of threw me under the bus. And at the time, I'd put in 4 years. I started off as a dishwasher. I had done marketing promotions for them. I'd really worked my way up as a 20-year-old, and I was definitely bitter and whatever. But, then I went on and I found Corky's, went to work for them, grew up with the family, and they gave me a great opportunity. Loved the barbecue, loved the brand, closed early. I think we were closed at 9 o'clock during the week. I mean, it was a great job. I was there when you could shoot a shotgun at 8 o'clock at night and not hit a person. And then by the time I left after college, they closed on a 30-minute wait. Great family. I'm still friends with the son. I see him and his wife. And if I hadn't have gotten fired from that job, I would have never ended up at Corky's. And if I didn't have been at Corky's, I would have never gotten my franchise. If I never got the franchise, I would have never been able to help barbecue restaurants and other restaurants get in the catering business. And I haven't done that, I wouldn't have been in the software business, right?
Yep.
So, and even if I'm wrong, let's just play what if. Michael's crazy, he's smoking something. Isn't it better to look at life like that than to be a victim?
Yeah. Yeah.
And too many people are victims, and it's like, it just doesn't serve you. Doesn't serve anybody. So let's talk about more things you've done to build sales over the years. Whether it's sales strategies, marketing strategies, operational strategies that you believe help grow the business. What are some things that you've done?
I would say, uh, building on what we have found that works for us, and maybe shedding some stuff that doesn't. Um, we you don't have to do everything. Uh, find what works for you. Find which lanes fit your company the best, and do what you do. We've found that corporate events are that's the thing that I like to do most of. We love doing weddings. We love doing sorority parties. We love doing deliveries to doctors' offices. But the corporate events, that's where we drill down in the most. And I'd like to think that we've been able to scale, gather equipment and systems where we can do that the best that we can.
Are you proactively going after the business, or is it more, hey, we have a good presence in the community, we have a good presence online, and we're doing more fielding inbound than going out there and trying to hustle? Because, obviously you've been in the community for generations, right? So
Yes,
most people probably know your name.
sure.
Which lane are you driving in these days?
Um, I would say it's mainly taking care of the customers that we have. I'm not going door to door, knocking on doors, or uh, advertising in the newspaper or anything like that anymore. Not that anybody does that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of social media, but yeah, our strategy nowadays is focus on who we have, taking care of that, and that's been growing bigger every day without us having to go door to door or anything special.
Yeah, I think good marketing gets you the first sale, good operations and experience gets you repeat. And I know I read this someplace, I can't take credit for it, but anything that touches the customer or prospect is marketing. Clean bathroom, that's marketing, because they're going to walk in and go, shit, literally and figuratively. If your bathroom looks terrible, they're thinking, why would I hire you to do my wedding? You can't even keep your bathrooms clean.
Yeah.
But if your people are friendly and nice and the food's good in the restaurant, then they're like, oh, well, they've got to be good caterers if they run a good operation, right? Everything, it all
Right.
it all boils down, and I think that's taken for granted in a lot of places.
Hmm.
You know, one of my favorite organizations is Chick-fil-A. You know, you never get a bad. I've never gotten a bad order there. I've never had somebody unfriendly. The only thing I hate about them is I have a craving on Sundays and they can't take care of me.
Oh
But,
yeah.
you know,
Well, that's where Wendy's comes into play, right? Did you see all that campaign?
I'd heard about that. The best thing I heard, somebody on social media said, if you really want to start a business, get a food truck, do fried chicken and lemonade, and park in Chick-fil-A parking lots on Sunday and call it Side Chick. Have
That's
you
pretty,
seen that?
that's good. Yeah, I think I have.
So, I mean, somebody probably could make a fortune just parking a food truck right next to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday, because I swear, it's like my fiance this past weekend, we were near Chick-fil-A. She goes, hey, after we're done with this, let's go to Chick-fil-A. I said, well, we're going to have to wait 24 hours because they're
Yeah.
not open.
Yep.
So, um, so, I know, traditionally when you think of a barbecue restaurant, you think of sit down, takeout, catering. What other things are y'all? I see these barbecue sauce bottles behind you. What else are y'all doing to generate sales and build your brand?
Yeah. So yeah, we make our that shoulder. We make our own and bottle our own barbecue sauce. That's one of my cousins, Paul Jr. That's one of the hats he wears. He makes the sauce, and we have this huge facility that ships it, and we package it and that sort of thing. Actually, right when I was out of college, that was one of the divisions that I worked in. I guess you call it a division, family
Yeah.
business. But yeah, we I was helping go to grocery stores and sell the sauce to them. I'd say I was fairly successful with that. Got
Are
into some.
y'all outside your local trade area or pretty much in?
Yeah, yeah, I was able to go to let's see, Austin and San Antonio to pitch to Whole Foods and
Really?
HEB. Yeah, we were in Whole
That's
Foods.
like bringing
Wow.
ice to Alaska, man.
I know, right?
To get anybody in Texas
To
to
get this,
take
yeah,
sauce from a South Carolina guy,
yeah, yeah.
that's selling.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing that makes us unique, Alabama has white sauce. We have our Carolina Gold
Oh, the
mustard.
mustard sauce.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it's from, and we're one of the.
I was never a super huge fan, but we work with Mission Barbecue, and
Mhm.
the head of their catering for all their stores was in Nashville and said, hey, come meet me out at the restaurant. And, I love brisket, and I mean, I love everything, but I love brisket and sausage. He goes, man, put some of this Carolina sauce. And it's like crack cocaine. It's really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
is that your sort of your claim to fame in the sauce world is the Carolina Gold?
Yep. Yeah, that's another thing that makes us unique. That that you can't find. I mean, you can find it other places, but you know, it's not the original. It's not the same. Not all natural.
Yeah. And you're right about the Alabama white sauce. There's something, I've had some people, like, I'll get smoked wings and then they deep fry, like there's a sports bar down at the beach and they do an Alabama white. I mean, it's meant for barbecue, anything smoked chicken, smoked
Hmm.
poultry.
Hmm.
I wouldn't put it on sausage. I wouldn't put it on pork, but on poultry, it
Yeah,
rocks.
I
So if
agree.
you're a real barbecue aficionado, it's sort of like people who collect bourbons or wines. You got to have the right thing. Like, I don't. My fiance and I will make sort of rendezvous style sausage and put the dry shake on it. So there's some for everybody. But that Carolina Gold is gold. Do y'all ship any product around the country?
We do. I was actually going through some old pictures, and I come across these letters and stuff from our customers. We had shipped to some soldiers in Kuwait back in the day, and they sent us these pictures of them holding the sauce and saying that we just had to get a taste of home over here in the desert.
Oh man.
It's kind of cool.
So I'm going to date myself. Have you ever watched the show MASH?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the Adams ribs episode?
Oh man,
So
I'm not
they're
sure.
in Korea and they're
Mhm,
craving ribs. So
mhm.
they call over to Adams Ribs. Maybe it was in Cincinnati or Cleveland, and they had it shipped over to Korea.
Yeah.
I'm sure they put it on military transport. Do y'all ship product food or just like pork and beef and sausage as well?
Yeah, pork, ribs, brisket. We're another thing we hold our hats on is our hash, Carolina hash. So we ship that, and of course our all our
Just for people listening, what's Carolina
yeah.
hash?
So it's like a Brunswick stew. It's typically put over rice. It's pork, a little bit of brisket, but potatoes, tomatoes, onions, peppers, all stewed together overnight. And it's a really good topping.
Wow, that sounds good. Something about South Carolina, and are they South Carolinians? Is that what you say?
South Carolinians.
South Carolinians and their rice, right?
That's right.
I love the rice. Who doesn't? Um, do y'all like, can people order food online to ship? Have you been on QVC?
We've been on a couple. No, I haven't been on QVC, but we've been on a couple of different uh, food shipping sites.
Oh, cool.
I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but
Like Gold Belly or something. I see they
yeah, I
ship
think
a lot
so.
of stuff.
Yeah, that one
Very
sounds.
cool. Anything, and obviously, you know, everything you're doing to get the brand out, it cross pollinates, right? I pick up your sauce at the grocery store. If I'm at the party, I try the sauce. It's like, oh, they have a restaurant. Let's go to the restaurant. Eat at the restaurant. Hey, I got a graduation party for my kid. It's all cross pollination. Is there anything else? Are y'all big into merch? Um, y'all do any cooking classes?
No, we've dabbled into merch a little bit, but and not a deep dive, but
Yeah,
yeah.
very cool. So we're sort of getting towards the end of the interview, and for somebody listening, and they're maybe more on the newer end, and they're like trying to figure out how to get their catering to a higher level. You got two or three tips you want to share? Any closing tips on, if you had to start today with everything what would make it easier to get to that 20% sales figure?
Well, it's definitely a long game. It it it's not something that, you can open overnight and expect a big, truckload of money on your lawn. I'm still ex
No,
I'm still looking for that myself, but, um, having good systems, having good, help, support, that's big. We touched earlier about, positivity, trying to manage the stress, work life, family life, combination. That's something you have to take into consideration and be aware of. Um, and it all starts with a good product. I mean, you got to have that.
I think that's sort of like the price of admission these days.
Yeah.
And the good thing about barbecue is, I'm not going to say AI will never replace a barbecue restaurant, but it's going to be a long time before you can do that.
Sure.
Well, I really appreciate your time today. Great insights. Thanks for sharing some of what you do and your family's history. That's very cool. And I hope you have a great afternoon.
Well, thank you. You too.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Barbecue Catering Smarts, where we bring you the best ideas, stories, and strategies from across the barbecue catering industry. We hope today's episode sparked new insights to help you refine your systems, elevate your customer experience, and grow your catering profits. For more episodes and insights, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us next time.